your forecast first. Sponsored by Matex Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
Everybody, welcome in on this Friday night. The weekend is here, and wow, we kicked it off on a beautiful note across the area. Temperatures tonight, very comfortable, lower 60s. Effingham to Champaign, mid-60s still, over around Springfield at 67 degrees. Okay, let's break down tomorrow, where it's going to feel like summer. We're talking highs back into the mid-80s throughout tomorrow afternoon. Also, a lot of wind for your Saturday. We'll talk more about that. And when the bottom completely drops out with these temperatures, you won't believe the temperature I've got on the 7-day. I'll share it with you coming up. WCIA3 News starts right now.
Now from WCIA3 News.
We have a couple of tenants who are abusing it.
The state moratorium on evictions means no one can get kicked out of their home, but some landlords claim some tenants could pay rent anyway. One county's test will no longer be counted along with its region. We'll explain why. Pride Fest may be virtual, but organizers are finding ways to celebrate through a screen.
You're watching your local news leader. This is WCIA3 News at 10.
If the tenant chooses not to pay rent, landlord's just out of luck.
It's a situation many landlords are facing as more people are not paying rent during the pandemic. Some landlords say there could be devastating consequences if this continues for much longer. Good evening, I'm Jessica Coons. The state's eviction moratorium is stretching into month 7. Renters are protected by law from being kicked out of their homes through October 17th. WCIA3's Jennifer Jensen is live in the newsroom. So Jennifer, how are landlords handling the lack of payments?
Jessica, the landlord I spoke with, says he's willing to work with renters when they have life traumas like losing a job or they have emergency bills. And while he says the majority of renters pay on time, his concern lies with people who are taking advantage of not having to pay rent.
It discourages us. It makes us feel frustrated.
Bill Standifer with Coles County Landlord Association owns several rental properties. He's familiar with the routine of people not paying rent.
But I can tell you, in 41 years of being a landlord, once a tenant is $1,000 or more behind, they never catch up. They pack up in the night and move.
Governor Pritzker extended the eviction moratorium by another month to give renters a break if they can't pay their rent.
We don't want mass homelessness, and that's what would occur if you simply removed the moratorium on evictions entirely.
While Standifer understands the intent behind this, he says there's another perspective to consider.
Some tenants have decided they don't need to pay their rent. We have a couple of tenants who are abusing it. We know their income has not changed.
This is leaving landlords stuck footing the bills.
Who is still responsible for property taxes, insurance, maintenance, utilities in many cases, and probably loans on his property. All of that still has to be paid.
He's concerned this is just delaying severe consequences for both renters and landlords.
Once this is lifted, there will be a flood of evictions, a flood of them. And how is that good? I mean, I'm not going to let people stay in our properties and not pay rent indefinitely. I can't do it.
At the beginning of this month, the CDC also issued a temporary eviction moratorium for renters through the end of this year. This order extends to all renters who have applied for government assistance, have lost income because of the pandemic, or would be homeless if evicted. In the newsroom, I'm Jennifer Jensen, WCIA3, your local news leader.
All right, Jennifer, thank you. People in Decatur marched in honor of Breonna Taylor tonight. They say they don't think Taylor was given the justice she deserved. Former Louisville officer Brett Hankison was charged with wanton endangerment for shooting into another apartment, but he and 2 other officers were not charged in Taylor's death. Organizer Jay Boatman says he wants harsher charges.
I just couldn't take another moment and sit there and not do something about it. So I decided on the same day that we got the verdict to plan a march. It was important to us because her life mattered, Black lives matter, our lives mattered, and it just was something that we needed to be done.
This march also honored people who have lost their lives to gun violence. A resolution passed by the U of I student government is raising concern. It asks the university to stop giving money to certain companies and departments which supporters say violate human rights. It also mentions companies involved in the Israeli-Palestinian conflicts. Jewish student organizations say that puts Jewish students in a tough spot.
Our Jewish students on campus have a deep connection to the state of Israel. They have family living there. They have, this is basically their ancestral homeland. And to be in a situation where they need to choose between that connection and the connection that they have with black students on this campus is an impossible situation to be in.
Chancellor Robert Jones does not support the resolution, saying, quote, "It is unfortunate that a resolution was designed to force students who oppose efforts to divest from Israel to also vote against support for the Black Lives Matter movement." The governor's office continues to push the graduated income tax proposal. Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton gave a warning yesterday: pass the graduated income tax or see a 1% tax hike across the board. Senators Andy Manar and Steve McClure debated in Springfield today. McClure, the Republican, is against the proposal. He sees Stratton's warning as more of an ultimatum, but Manar says this has always been a possibility if something doesn't change soon.
I don't want to raise taxes on middle-class families. I think it's reasonable to say if you are in the wealthiest 3% of our state's population, it's okay for you to chip in a little bit more.
Their polling must not be very good on this progressive income tax right now, because you don't say something like that this close to an election unless you're in trouble.
House Minority Leader Jim Durkin says the lieutenant governor's message is a threat to the people of Illinois. Election season means political signs, but people in central Illinois say theirs are being stolen. The main targets are Black Lives Matter signs and signs for President Trump. Angela Warala has had 3 signs taken from her yard in Urbana. While it's frustrating, she has this to say to the people taking them.
It's not going to silence those of us who are putting signs like this in our yard, and I think that's the message that I would like communicated is I'll just replace them, and it won't change my vote.
She says there are other ways to tell someone you disagree with them instead of walking onto their property and stealing. Some voters in Vermilion County are concerned for their safety. Some aren't wearing face masks at the polls, and the county clerk's office is not turning them away. WCIA3's Jared Farmer has more.
The Vermilion County Clerk's Office saw a record number of votes cast on Thursday morning. Each polling station adheres to CDC guidelines and asks voters to wear a mask, but some are not complying. County Clerk Kathy Jenkins said trying too hard to enforce guidelines could present a problem.
It is our feeling that we don't want to turn people away that don't want to wear a mask because they have a right to vote as well.
The county clerk's office wants to enforce as many CDC guidelines as possible. Should a voter decide to show up to the polls and refuse to wear a mask, the county clerk's office says they have a couple of contingencies. The county clerk said while it's heavily encouraged to wear a mask to the polls, they simply don't want to risk infringing on the residents' right to vote. The polling station will instead be asking voters to stand 6 feet apart to maintain social distancing. Poll judges will interact with voters behind protective plexiglass, and hand sanitizer is available at every booth.
We are not going to tell them we're not going to turn the voters away. So we're saying, if it's something that concerns you, that we do alpha vote by mail, you can vote by mail, get your ballot, and then you can drop it off at the office. You do not have to wait and send it in the mail.
Still, plenty of in-person voters are taking CDC guidelines seriously. One voter said it's about promoting safety, but also about respect and care for others.
I don't like wearing this thing, but I respect you and I respect other people, so I wear it for safety's sake.
The clerk's office is encouraging all voters concerned about safety to vote as soon as possible before crowd sizes begin to increase. In Danville, I'm Jared Farmer, WCIA3, your local news leader.
Voters can also drop off their mail-in ballots at the clerk's office to avoid crowds. New at 10, starting next week, Champaign County's COVID test numbers won't be counted with the rest of Region 6. A majority of the region's COVID tests are from Champaign County. State officials are concerned that's skewing the region's positivity rate to be lower than it actually is. On Tuesday, nearly 14,000 tests were done in Region 6. More than 12,000 were from Champaign County. The county will now instead report its own numbers. Macon County is now on the COVID-19 warning list, joining counties including Cass, Christian, DeWitt, and Menard. Statewide, there are more than 2,500 new cases. That brings the total up to more than 283,000. 25 more people have died. In total, more than 8,500 people have died from the virus in Illinois. We have an update in the House investigation into ComEd's attempts to bribe Speaker Michael Madigan. The Speaker declined an invitation to testify before the House Special Investigative Committee. Madigan denied any wrongdoing. He says if anyone at ComEd ever tried to bribe or influence him, they, quote, would have failed miserably. The committee does have the power to issue a subpoena and force him to testify. ComEd executives have agreed to testify under oath on Tuesday in Springfield. Halloween is a holiday for frights, but people will have to get spooked without one creepy staple this year. Plus, it's a way to help seniors in one county, what's giving them a better quality of life. And COVID-19 meant no soccer for fall, but that did not stop one high school athlete from finding a way to play anyway.